Evening, and those stories across a number of the papers linking them with the RB Leipzig forward Benjamin Šeško. Henry Winter, we will come to you first, and it doesn't take too long to decipher why Manchester United are after a striker. Just 44 Premier League goals last season. Only Southampton, Leicester, Ipswich and Everton managed fewer, so this is a real priority for Ruben Amorim.
Well, and it's been his priority all summer. It's why he brought Matheus Cunha in to play as the sort of the left-sided 10. Bryan Mbeumo obviously has come in, probably plays the right-sided 10. Interesting to see where Bruno Fernandes fits in that. But I mean, we've seen from the start with Rasmus Højlund, he's so hard-working, but he's just not finishing off the fairly scant service that he's been getting. So Šeško appeal, as the Sun delicately put it. I mean, they're a difficult club to negotiate with. I mean, you can ask Arsenal, you can ask Newcastle, and Newcastle fans must be sort of doing their head in seeing another player that they've been linked with probably going elsewhere. But it's a sensible move by Manchester United, because they absolutely need a striker. I mean, sympathy for Højlund, but he simply hasn't delivered.
It's an interesting one, isn't it, Roger, because the two players that they've been linked with, one, Benjamin Šeško, a younger player at the age of 22 with no Premier League experience. One of the other targets, reportedly across a number of papers, is Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins, who has the pedigree. He is a ready-made Premier League striker, but it might just be the structure of the payment and potentially the longevity that is attracting United to Šeško.
Without doubt, Rob. Šeško will cost more money than Watkins. He'll cost, £70 million, I would imagine. But he's 22 years of age, and I know there is this, a desire for people to be Premier League ready, like Cunha, like Mbeumo. But when you've got a talent like Šeško, even at £70 million, this will be a good deal for Manchester United. Henry says they're desperately crying out for a player of his ability, and is a guy who could be the Manchester United centre forward for a decade.
So the Telegraph saying United step up a pursuit of £70 million Šeško. And it is an interesting point, Henry, that perhaps you don't need as much Premier League pedigree from a player if the two that you plan on playing in and around him, and we know Ruben Amorim wants those two number 10s, Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo, have shown that they can do it in this division before.
Absolutely, they have. And Rasmus Højlund must be looking at that and saying, well, I could actually do with a little bit of that quality of service. But if it is Šeško, and look, I mean, you can talk to anyone around Arsenal, and negotiating with Leipzig is not the easiest. And so this might run. Manchester United, understandably, don't want to be overpaying for a player, and this is probably why they withdrew from the Ollie Watkins scenario. He's only got 1 year left of his contract at Aston Villa. But also Šeško, I think, possibly offers a little bit more, though he's younger. He can play with his back to goal. He's not so much of a run-through striker as Ollie Watkins is, and they need someone to sort of knit the player and bring the number 10s in around him. But I think with Manchester United, Šeško, fantastic, get a striker, but I do think they also need a goalkeeper, and they probably need a more mobile central midfielder as well.
Part of it was the recruitment, Roger, and getting in the players that Ruben Amorim wanted to fit his very specific system. But there were also clearly some problems with the culture, with getting players out of that dressing room as well. The mirror goes with Ruben Amorim. Shaw insists ruthless style of Old Trafford boss will fix toxic atmosphere and get club back to the top. I mean, they're strong quotes from Luke Shaw. I've been here over the last few years. It's been extremely negative. It can be quite toxic, the environment. That's not healthy at all. And when you know that there are certain players who have left the club in recent weeks, and those that are being made to train away from the group, it's pretty pointed from Luke Shaw too.
It really is, Robert. I think it's a really open and honest interview by Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw has seen a lot of highs and lows in his Manchester United career. He's been there a long time. You think back even to some of the personal stick he took when Jose Mourinho was manager. So for Luke Shaw to come out and speak so positively about the culture and the atmosphere that Ruben Amorim is generating this summer, and by extension the negativity that some other players in the squad who are now out with the squad may have brought last season, that says a lot about the changes being affected by Amorim there.
Do you think that, Henry, it sort of implies that with previous managers that have come and gone, that Luke Shaw, and he probably won't be the only player who feels a bit like the tail was wagging the dog a little bit and the players had too much power in that dressing room?
I think there was an element of that. I think that the turnover, the uncertainty at boardroom level with new owners coming in. I mean, Luke Shaw is a really interesting guy, and we've all interviewed him. And as Roger says, we admire his openness. But I mean, he's not going to criticise Ruben Amorim. He's always going to sort of come down on that side. I think it's quite interesting in his interviews. He doesn't actually sort of dig out the bomb squad sort of by name, because I imagine they're all on the same WhatsApp group, and I don't think that would go down particularly well. So I think he's been quite sensible there. And I think Manchester United fans might look at the quotes and think, well, how frustrating. We've got a fantastic elite level left back who's just simply because of injury has not been able to deliver enough for Manchester United. But look, that's through no fault of his own. I mean, he's had some horrendous injuries, but it's the mentality of some of the players. It's the lack of application. And we can talk about bringing Šeško in, but the bomb squad has still got to be diffused. There's still 4 pretty big names which Manchester United are going to have to offload, as well as the broader issue of looking at their recruitment in and out.
And that is the thing about Ruben Amorim last season, Roger, that I think he was lauded at times for being quite upfront about what was a dire situation in terms of the results, maybe in terms of some of the characters that he did have in his dressing room. But very quickly, by the time that first game against Arsenal comes around, the pressure will be on him to start getting results, because he too was culpable for the position Manchester United eventually found themselves in.
Yeah, it was a historically bad Premier League position for Manchester United last season. They could hardly ask for a tougher part, Rob, than facing Arsenal on the opening weekend of the season in a couple of weeks' time. But he knows that at the ground running, if he gets Šeško in before that first Premier League game,